Content warning. On this podcast, we discuss sensitive issues, including but not limited to swearing, tasteless jokes, situations of a sexual nature, and drug use. This podcast is not intended for children. Hello, and welcome to BiblioWrecks, the podcast where we read really long, terrible books, and then spend my whole Sunday recording.
Yeah.
I'm Bugs.
And I'm Bam Bam.
We're back for part 2
of Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy.
A word we cannot understand what he means in this context.
Yeah, I kind of get the vibe. Like, you know, some words, even if you don't know the strict definition, you can just kind of pick up the vibe of what they mean.
Yeah, because it feels like center.
Yeah, I think that is kind of what it vibes like.
Amy showed me an episode of Bob's Burgers where the mom is trying to start new good habits, and she came across the word capricious. And I was thinking that it was kind of a negative word where someone is like kind of naughty or bad or something. And then it actually means flighty. Like someone whose mood will just change randomly or who takes fancies all the time.
Yeah.
Which is really funny that that's the word she came across because she picks up a new habit the next day and then a new habit the next day. But yeah, there's words like that where you have the sense of, I think I know what that means.
Yeah, depending on the context, you can kind of pick up what it means in that context, but it may not necessarily be the whole definition.
Which is this book in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's most of this book is that.
It is up to interpretation and vague and full of references to things that you'd have to have a doctorate in English to get.
Like an stone. What the fuck's an stone?
Right.
So, on the last episode, we were introduced to the bleak world of Blood Meridian. Horrible people doing horrible things, and a facet of the genocide on Native Americans in Mexico and America. And we learned a bit more about the character of the judge, who becomes a bit more important in this episode.
Oh.
Because even though he's not he's a main character, but he's not the protagonist.
Right.
He's the antagonist, but he feels like he's the most important character in the story sometimes.
And we established through a reference to Paradise Lost that he symbolizes something similar to Satan or the devil. And it's hard to tell if the author agrees with him or not.
Yeah, kind of hard to tell. Which, when you put it like that, he's literally putting him as evil McEvilface. So surely he's not agreeing with evil McEvilface, right? But I can't tell still. Considering some of the stuff he said in his personal life, but who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
So, we start with Chapter 13. The Glanton gang returns to Chihuahua City, where they are lavished in gifts and praise, as well as paid by the city for their 128 scalps and 8 heads.
Ooh.
Bathed of the trail dust and the blood of women and children, they are given a banquet. After emptying every larder of food they can get a hold of, they begin eyeing the churlish-looking dames of the city. I'm not entirely sure what churlish means.
It means... So a churl is someone who's like a knave or a vagabond, rapscallion. Okay, think about women who are standing on the street just kind of staring and glowering at people, and they're not really doing anything. I don't think they're meant to be whores. I think they're meant to just be women who's just kind of like staring at you and like judging you.
I think that kind of fits the bill here.
And it's the idea that these are women who aren't doing work. They should be working or doing something useful, and instead they're standing around gossiping and looking at you. I was just trying to think of how many obscure, strange words I could use that were
you found a couple.
Similar to trollish.
But yeah, a lot of the words are like just of an older style that just aren't generally used. Like, they weren't used much back in the 80s, and they certainly aren't used now. No,
churlish is definitely a mood. It's if you think of a 13-year-old kid who's supposed to be mucking out the barn and they're just standing there kind of looking at you like, make me.
They're a churl.
They're being churlish. It's an attitude and it's like a stubbornness and a set of your jaw.
So anyway, these churlish looking dames fall to dancing with special interest on the judge dancing with the ladies. And as we mentioned before, when the judge dances, a child goes missing. And I can't emphasize enough how subtly this is done. There's no indication. He doesn't eye one particular girl or anything. They are always two disconnected facts. The judge will dance, and the next day someone in the background will be talking about their daughter who went missing. Which always seems weird, because we'll be focusing on the goings-on of the gang, and just out of earshot, someone is crying about their missing child. And it's never brought up again or resolved. It's just called attention to, and you don't know why.
Right.
So the gang is partying and getting in fights and destroying shit. People are running around scared, and they do it for like a week. Just being destructive and partying and being wild. And people complain to the governor, but, quote, much like the sorcerer's apprentice who could indeed provoke the imp to do his will, but could in no way make him cease again.
You can summon a demon, but can you stop him? Can you send him back?
They finally leave after every woman in the city was boarded up in their rooms for their own safety.
Oh my god.
So they leave and go and hunt more people. On their way, they come across, in the book's words, a band of peaceful Tiquas Indians that they promptly slaughter. Afterward, we see the attitude of the gang. Quote, they ran balls and cut patches as if the fate of the Aborigines had been cast into shape by some other agency altogether. So, murdering people is becoming absolutely meaningless to these people now.
They're just slaughtering, like butchering chickens at this point.
Yeah. But there is one voice among them that one might interpret as dissent.
Okay.
It's Toadvine, again.
Oh.
Still really weird. Like, the character we got introduced to as the senseless, violent character is the voice of reason somehow. Don't know how that keeps happening. He says, quote, them sons of bitches ain't bothering nobody. But the man he says it to says nothing, and nothing more is said about it. The text describes a scene afterwards. Quote, in the days to come, the frail black rebuses of blood in those sands would crack and break and drift away so that in the circuit of a few suns, all trace of the destruction of these people would be erased. The desert wind would salt their ruins, and there would be nothing, nor ghosts, nor scribe, to tell to any pilgrim in his passing how it was that people had lived in this place and in this place died. This is beyond hopeless. This awful thing happened, and no one will ever know about it or care about the victims.
Yep.
And that is one thing I begrudgingly respect about this book and McCarthy. It gives an honest state of affairs about the world in general, about, just history. This kind of thing has happened throughout all of time. Cultures will never know people whose stories bake away in the sun. But I feel like the takeaway that the book is inferring is disgusting because it's McCarthy's, who didn't think the species should improve and stop being violent, or else your freedoms get taken away. Only other important thing in this chapter is when a fight breaks out in a Mexican village where they kill almost 40 people.
Wow.
After the shooting dies, everyone is in a kind of daze. Glanton quietly puts his hat on, walks to the saloon door, and tells the gang to start collecting scalps. So, at some point, he got the idea, hey, Mexican scalps don't look that different from Native American scalps.
Dark hair, darker skin, yeah.
So, they're going to start killing Mexicans and selling them to the Mexican government.
That's fucking grim.
Yeah, it sure is. Because the Mexican government, just like the American government, can't tell the difference.
Because a human head is a human head.
Yeah. So this begins their steady downhill trajectory. As the story progresses, they just start killing anyone they come across. And even when the Mexican government gets onto them and they can't sell scalps anymore, they just keep taking scalps.
Oh my god.
And it's just like a force of habit. Like, it's for nothing at this point in the story, or at a later point in the story. Mm-hmm. But for now, they sell the scalps to a local governor. But a week after, word gets out of what happened in the village, and a bounty is put on Glanton. And all the while, the gang rides further and further west. In this next chapter, it's more travel through rough country, more of the gang acting wild, and whatever populace they might be around at the time thinking them repulsive for their necklaces of ears and bloodstains and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Glanton is getting increasingly unstable and drinking. So much so that the judge has to nurse him with a cool rag. Mm. So the judge is kind of working as like his emotional...
stability.
Yeah, there's another word for it. His emotional stabilizer, I guess. Mm. And that sounds kind, doesn't it?
Your face is telling me no.
Yeah, I did do the thing where I say something like very leading and then say nothing.
Yeah, and then you look at me really intensely.
It's almost as if, while writing, McCarthy thought, hold on, the judge just did something nice. I'd better make him do something terrible.
Yes.
And this is the sequence of events. The judge nurses Glanton, walks outside, sees a boy selling 2 puppies.
Oh my fucking God! What the hell?
Buys them, finds a bridge, going over the river, drops them in. I don't know what this is supposed to convey. This doesn't deepen my understanding of the judge at all. Like, we already had a scene where he was bouncing a child on his knee, and the next moment had killed and mutilated it.
Yeah.
If anything, this undercuts that character. This is cartoonish evil.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a caricature. He's not even a person anymore. So I don't know why this decision.
Yeah, because... And the boy was selling them. It wasn't like he stole the kids' puppies and murdered them in front of them.
Yeah, no, he bought them expressly so he could kill those puppies.
Yeah, like, this is insane.
Mm-hmm. So I don't understand what this is trying to do in the story because it feels silly. It feels a silly amount of evil. Uh-huh. There is one other instance in this chapter that makes the judge seem kind of caring. One of the gang gets separated, and it happens to be the man that earlier in the story had gotten his fortune told, and it said that his fate would be the gang's. So as long as he's alive, the gang stays alive.
Oh.
And the judge believes this. Like, he's very scientifically minded. Like, he likes all these historical understandings. But for some reason, he's super into astrology.
Okay.
So he is taking this other character just not being there very seriously. Mm-hmm. And I don't quite understand why. Because he's the character that said, quote, "Whatever in creation exists without my knowledge exists without my consent." And it doesn't make sense for that character to believe in star signs to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Like, the things aren't mutually exclusive, but that it just doesn't track for me. Like, this character just isn't making sense.
Right.
And he's a big character in the story, so if he's not making sense, that's kind of a problem.
He believes in war, though. Does he also believe in chaos? Is he meant to be a chaotic character, kind of like Loki, or a trickster? I mean, some of the stuff is kind of trickster-y.
Yeah. It kind of vibes like it because, like, him just walking into Nacogdoches and making up shit about Reverend Green for no reason.
That's very trickster.
Yeah.
Like, almost like a trickster god, kind of. Because, I mean, I know Loki and Marvel is a lovable rogue and whatever, but actual kind of, like, old Loki stories are kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And kind of scary.
Yeah.
And actual trickster gods are pretty horrifying in what they would do to people. I'm wondering if he's meant to be more than the embodiment of, like, worship of war and stuff, but he's also supposed to be these other types of, like, human malevolence.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it is just human malevolence that he is representing. Like, his thing that he keeps harping on is war, but it just seems like any kind of human suffering or malevolence is what he's into.
So that could be why he does one thing that is slightly kind, and he has to overbalance himself back to malevolence.
Yeah.
He has an evil meter, and it dropped slightly.
Yeah. No, he's got the bar on Red Dead Redemption where if you do a nice thing, it goes up, and if you do like a bad thing, it goes
like
down.
when we were
He's
playing
doing an
D&D
evil run.
and I was chaotic neutral or something like that, and I did something nice. Well, no, I did something bad, and you made me...
Chaotic evil? No, you started off as a good character, and I made you chaotic neutral, I think is what it was.
And then I did, yeah. It was like something happened, and I...
And you're...
Yeah, it's like that when that can happen in D&D.
Yeah. But yeah, this is just a character in Red Dead Redemption, and he's just doing an evil run. So on west they travel, into Sonora. Other than the usual agonizingly described scenery and debauchery, not that much happens. While in Sonora, they get another contract with the governor for more Apache scalps. Into the Sonoran Desert, they once again get pursued by the Mexican army, 500 troops led by General Elias. In the running fight, 4 men get injured, so the rest of the company draws lots as to who is going to stay behind and kill the wounded men to spare them from being tortured by the Mexican army. Mm-hmm. Among the winners is the kid, as he went to select his broken arrow that they're using as, short and long straws. The judge watches him. The kid notices that he's watching him and changes the arrow he was going to pick.
Oh.
So playing with a little bit more of the fate stuff, and he comes back with a short straw. So the rest of the gang leaves, and the other 3 winners do their deed mostly. One guy didn't have the gumption to finish a man who was, drowning in his own blood, so he'll just die anyway. And so that leaves the kid and a wounded man named Dick Shelby, who is shot in the hip and can't ride anymore. The kid asks the man whether he just wants to be left, and the man asks for a gun, but the kid won't give him one. He asks if Glanton is coming back, and if he does, he'll try to kill him. Then asks the kid if he can hide him under a bush. The kid, tries to help him hide under the bush, but Shelby goes for his gun, so the kid just drops him. Mm-hmm. And he fills Shelby's canteen and just leaves him. Yeah, on the way, the man that had no gumption earlier just stood with his horse, who has a split hoof.
Ooh.
The man expects the kid to leave him, but the kid tells him to come on, and they lead their horses along. So
you can't ride a horse with a split hoof, right?
I mean, it's not good for the horse. And
it'll make it go lame.
Yeah. I think at that point it's kind of already lame, but yeah, this is the kid trying to be moderately empathetic, I think. Mm-hmm. He's not wanting to kill this guy that is one of his companions, I guess. Mm-hmm. And he's not willing to leave this other guy just stranded when his horse is lame. So the kid is kind of working as a sort of moral center, I guess, is the idea. Mm-hmm. But he's also been along with the gang while they're doing all this horrible shit.
Is he described as killing and scalping people?
No.
Oh, he's just always there.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Yeah, he's in the background of all these things. He doesn't really do anything.
Huh.
Which is why I think he's mostly just an audience surrogate.
Okay.
His character has bearing on the story, so it doesn't perfectly glom on to audience surrogate, I guess.
Right.
So it's just kind of weird. Did I miss something? All right. As they're riding, trying to catch up with the gang, the night turns snowy, and they decide to travel uphill to avoid circling back into the army. They sleep in the snow for a little while until some soldiers happen upon them, and in the chaos, the kid loses the other man and just travels along on foot. I believe he knows, about where the gang is, but he's stuck in the high country amongst, canyons and stuff like that, so he has to, negotiate his way around to get back to the gang. Mm-hmm. And he travels for multiple days, resting only during the day for fear of freezing to death in his sleep. Mm-hmm. Then comes a lightning storm. Ashes blow on the wind, and the kid follows it. A single tree in the desert was struck by lightning. The text refers to this as a heraldic tree, like a herald. Mm-hmm. And much like the kid, an array of desert creatures take in the warmth of the burning tree. So he survives another night, and the next day he manages to track down the gang and rejoins them.
Gotcha.
The gang also had a terrible time of it. Harried by the army, they'd taken the trail of an Apache war party. So now they're stuck between 2 armies with no knowledge of how close either is. But they managed to shake the Mexican army, and I'm not entirely sure. It's either the Indians they were following behind are Chiricahuas and peaceful to them and just want to trade for whiskey, or they somehow also get away from the Apaches and just come upon some Chiricahuas. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
Chapter 16, we just travel some more. Like, I'm all for, like, scene descriptions, but for fuck's sake, the first 15 minutes of every chapter are describing the scenery. Like, they're well done and accurate, but sometimes it would just be nice to be, like, given the functional parts of the scene and let the imagination fill in a bit. Mm-hmm. They make it to a squalid little mud town. Glanton and a few others come across a crude tent with a sign that said, "See the wild man, 2 bits." Yeah. Quote, "Within a crude cage of Palo Verde poles crouched a naked imbecile. The floor of the cage was littered with filth and trodden food, and flies clambered about everywhere. The idiot was small and misshapen, and his face was smeared with feces, and he sat peering at them with dull hostility, silently chewing a turd."
So he has some severe disabilities, and he's just on display.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my question is, like, what is being added by making this character literally eat shit?
He's degraded. We want to show him be degraded. More degraded than he already is being in a cage.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, the only thing I can think of is that he's kind of being written to resemble a chimp, maybe? Like a chimpanzee, like a caged chimp?
I mean, there are people who have very specific illnesses and disabilities that make them play in their poop and eat poop.
Right.
But I doubt that the author was cognizant of that.
Yeah.
I think he's just wanting humans to look down on another human and say, "Ha, you're a worse human than I am."
Right.
I think it's just about degrading him.
Yeah. Well, it's also weird because for some reason the judge is fascinated by this character.
Okay.
And
So they pay to go in. Who goes in to look at him?
Glanton, the judge, and somebody else I can't remember, but it's not the kid.
Okay. Because other people's reaction to him is probably going to tell more about the purpose.
Most people are just kind of grossed out.
Yeah.
There is another part, because later in the story, these two, the guy that owns him, which is the disabled man's brother, start traveling with the gang, like just so they can try to make it to California. Mm-hmm. And they come across like a group of women, and the group of women like start trying to like caretake for him and, you know, get him not covered in literal shit.
Yeah, they try to take
and
care
clothe him. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's trying to mean something, and it's like the biggest interaction with women we have in the story.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Most of the time that women are involved in the story, they're doing some kind of caretaking, and
Or
they're
getting
being
killed.
nourishing, or they're getting killed.
Right.
Like in the first part of the story, the old lady nursing the kid back to health. Mm-hmm. And now we see these women are caretaking for this strange man.
Right.
So don't know what's trying to be said. I just take exception to needing to go to making this character literally eat his own shit to get to where we understand what this person is like. I feel like you could take it.
Because it feels pointless.
Yeah.
It feels like we're pointlessly adding degradation to slavery
And just being gross for no reason.
imprisonment.
Yeah.
And he's already being looked at. You know, we're already selling tickets to see him.
Yeah, he's a literal spectacle. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, the judge is fascinated by him and pretty much throughout the rest of the story treats him like a pet.
Okay.
Later on, while they're in this town, they go to an eating house, and they're waiting to be served when the owner comes up and says he's happy to serve anyone, but black people can't eat with white people, and refuses to serve them unless the character John Jackson moves to another table, because they have a black man in their group.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. One man asks the proprietor if he has a gun, to which he says no.
Oh, the wrong answer.
The man puts a Colt in his hand.
Oh, dear. That's worse.
You got one now. Now shoot the black man.
What?
Wait a goddamn minute, said Owens, the owner. Shoot him, the other man said. Jackson had risen, and he pulled one of the big pistols from his belt. Owens pointed the pistol at him. He says, "You put that down." And another man says, "You better forget about giving orders and shoot the son of a bitch." And both smoothly and quickly, Jackson passed a hand over the revolver and emptied the man's brains onto the wall.
The owner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, while somewhat cathartic, this is incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
The town has a garrison. And it's a very small town. It's mostly just to supply the army garrison that's there. Mm-hmm. And later, a lieutenant comes up and tells Glanton they're going to arrest whoever shot the man.
Oh.
So the judge comes up, because negotiating is his thing, and gaslights the officer until he leaves.
Oh.
Again, the judge just has the power to convince people. And all he tells the man is he's been with Glanton all day, and none of them ever come within 100 feet of the place. And for some reason, this officer just storms out. The best I can guess is his force is actually too small to go toe-to-toe with Glanton's gang.
Yeah.
But,
and he thought they would just give him up.
Yeah. So, who knows? Later on, when they speak again, the judge quotes other cases and jurisprudence at him, so it's thoroughly smoothed over, it seems. So the judge just has that power.
Silver-tongued devil.
Yeah, and he's consistent. He's consistently the devil.
Yeah. He doesn't play a fiddle, does he?
No, yeah, he does.
Wait, he plays a fiddle?
He does play a fiddle.
Does he play off against anyone else?
No.
Damn.
He's always just playing it by himself after he molests a child.
There's some references there that I think you're not getting.
No.
Did you read the old Nick stories, the Appalachian folktales?
No, I thought you were referencing the Charlie Daniels song.
Well, that's also based on the old Appalachian folktales.
Oh.
Playing the devil down to Georgia, or whatever is the song, but there's actually... Yeah, this character is a lot like the old Scratch from the stories.
Huh.
That was interesting. Yeah, I think there's probably other folk stories layered into this, too.
Yeah, even more
very
references that he's the devil.
Yeah, for real.
I truly don't understand the demiurge thing. It still bothers me.
There's no one in the story named Jack, is there?
No.
Okay.
Jackson is John Jackson's last name.
Yeah, no. Okay, that's interesting. Are there battles of wits, aside from, like, what we just saw?
Not really.
Okay.
The judge, like, kind of manipulates people. Like he does in this part.
Yeah.
So.
Because in...
How old is this story with Old Scratch and all this?
Oh, 1800s. Pretty early.
Okay. So, yeah, this could be another reference.
The stories that I read, there's loads and loads of versions. Versions.
Okay. Okay. That's better.
There were also virgins, but no, the versions... Usually, there would be a fellow named Jack, and he would be a character similar to Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
But Jack would outsmart the devil, but the devil is very, very smart, and they would have a battle of wits, and Jack would go up against the three giant stupid brothers who were like giants from Jack and the Beanstalk. Okay. And then there would always be kind of like a little moral, but Jack would always end up being more clever and able to outwit him somehow. But in this, it sounds like he has a lot of the characteristics, and he would be called Old Scratch.
Yeah.
Because when you would have a match, you would have to scratch it, and it would be made out of the gunpowder and sulfur, so you'd smell sulfur. Yeah. So people would think of matchsticks as similar to hell, because sulfur is what hell smells like. Huh. And so they would call Satan Old Scratch, because if you said his name, you would call him. And so that was one of the names. Yeah. So I'm just picking up some of the folktale aspects of this character, and I think he is... Yeah, there's more references about him being the devil than just the Paradise Lost, I think.
And, like, usually in stories, like, I love it when things are layered in like that.
Yeah, same.
But when it's done like this,
it
pisses me off because it's being done, like, not in a fun, tongue-in-cheek way. It's being done in a, you haven't read enough classical literature to be able to understand what we're doing here.
It's kind of like there was different books I would try to read, but they would use French phrases because they were high class, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. But I didn't have a dictionary of French, and I never knew what they were saying, and there was never a, glossary of phrases in the book. Yeah. And I would get very frustrated trying to read these books and not understand the references, and I would get so annoyed. Yeah,
and that's very much how it feels reading this one, because there's so many references, and, like, it's clear that there are references going on a lot of the time, but it never tells you like what it's referencing. Like it doesn't give you like a glossary at the end being like, oh, we were referencing a couple of these materials and stuff like that, and you should look into those. Like it doesn't feel like it's encouraging you to learn. Like it kind of feels like it's bullying you for not knowing.
It has some of the similar flavor to the book Mary Poppins, where we were reading it and expecting a fairly straightforward novel or short stories, and it ended up being these really strange, obscure references to like pop culture of the time and older literature and Greek mythology. And if you just read the face of it, it's like, this feels like nonsense.
Yeah. So they deal with all that. And this is the point where they make good on their deal with the Chiricahuas to trade whiskey to them. And as they leave, a young man asks someone else if they should worry about the Chiricahuas following them, but is told that they won't ride at night. The young man asks why. The other man spits, because it's dark. And that's the end of the scene. But just the matter-of-fact tone that he takes sometimes is really funny sometimes.
That is pretty funny.
Like, it's a lot of the stuff is just played for like incredibly dark humor, I think. As they camp one night, we get a glimpse into Glanton's headspace. Quote, Glanton stared long into the embers of the fire. All about him, his men were sleeping, but much was changed. So many gone, defected or dead.
I don't think you can call it defected if you're not a proper army. They just left, guy. You're being a little dramatic here.
Well, he is being dramatic here. He watched the fire, and if he saw portents there, it was much the same to him. He would live to look upon the western sea, and he was equal to whatever might follow. Whether his history should run concomitant with men and nations, whether it should cease. He'd long forsworn all weighing of consequence and allowing as he did that men's destinies that are given, yet he usurped to contain within him all that he would ever be in the world, and all that the world would be to him, and be his charter written in the stone itself. He claimed agency, and said so, and he drive the remorseless sun on to its final endarkment. Thoughts?
I kind of lost track of that thought halfway through.
It was long.
And I feel like that is... I'm getting Irene Iddlesby or whatever that book was, where I was just glazing over.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good attention span for books and audiobooks and reading, but sometimes these sentences, I'm just going like, huh?
It's also my delivery a little bit, because I kind of, while I'm reading it, I kind of lose the direction that I need to be giving while I'm reading it, so it's not entirely the book's fault.
Is he just thinking about like fate and destiny and feeling morose and bad for himself?
He's thinking about his destiny, but he's not feeling bad about himself. He's embracing the judge's philosophy at this moment and is becoming like an egomaniac.
Okay.
Because he's the one that is going to be driving the sun to its endarkment. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's just becoming a maniac. On another night, after passing several scenes of death, they are camped and the subject of war comes up. The judge's favorite subject. Quote, It makes no difference what men think of war, said the judge. War endures. As well ask men what they think of stone. War was always there. Before man was, war waited for him. The ultimate trade awaiting its ultimate practitioner. That is the way it was and will be. That way and not some other way. It endures because young men love it, and old men love it in them. To him, war is the ultimate game. All other trades are contained within war, and playing the game is the ultimate validation of man's worth, is basically what he's saying. Quote, War is the truest form of divination. It is the testing of one's will and the will of another within the larger will, which, because it binds them, is therefore forced to select. Which is the ultimate game, because war is at last forcing of the unity of existence. War is God. He goes on to explain moral law is just an invention of mankind. But this whole thing is bullshit. And if you wanted, you could pull the same little philosophical trick with like anything.
Yes.
Sex, for example.
Yes. Or cooking. Always cooking and eating.
Everything is so that you can eventually cook. One could make the same argument that all conflict and peacemaking is ultimately in the effort to have sex or cook.
Yes.
Sex even has better ground for it than war. The point could be made that all war is in an effort to have sex. An excellent example being the Trojan War. Two nations go to war to fuck Helen of Troy. And this narrowed down line of thought is nothing but like a little philosophical ploy to do whatever you want, which in this case for the judge is to do war. And this is the kind of shit like incels eat by the fistful.
I was just thinking this is incel, 14-year-old boy, Andrew Tate shit.
Yeah.
This is very Andrew Tate. The only thing that matters is fighting and punching and kicking, and I'm big and strong, so I'm the best at it. I'm a man.
And I don't know that necessarily McCarthy agrees with that.
Right,
but
because
anyone,
this is the judge.
Yeah, but anyone that is reading this, most people aren't going to be able to tell the difference. It's kind of like the problem with Fight Club, is that when people...
You have to watch the entire thing, think about it, watch it again, read about the author.
Well, yeah, you got to understand the nuances that are going to be going along with it, because I think, as I think I said...
when we did that Christmas episode.
When people without nuance watch critique, they take it as propaganda.
Satire becomes just
satire.
Truth. What was that other one? It was like someone that was...
Was it Space Monkeys?
No, it was like Battleship or Battlefield. Nah, Space Troopers. Something like
Starship
that.
Troopers.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know there's a couple like that. Maybe there's another one. I don't know if it was like RoboCop. But there's ones that are like that, where it's supposed to be a critique of the system, and we're making it utterly ridiculous, and then people take that, and that becomes their thing.
Yeah, which I think is what has happened to this particular piece of media.
But it's really hard to tell if it is critique.
Yeah, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So it's just like the Bible. You can take this and interpret it however the fuck you want, and have it say whatever you want it to say.
Right, and he didn't come out during his life and say, no, this is a critique of men and war and fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From here, I'm going to abandon the chapter-by-chapter analysis and just sum up a huge chunk of the story.
Oh, thank God.
The gang make a deal with some Yuma Indians to attack a ferry that crosses a river. This, however, is a trick. When the Yuma attack the ferry, Glanton's gang swoops in to appear to save the ferry, betraying the Yuma. From there, they kind of take over the ferry and all the adjoining buildings and browbeat the owner into taking control from him.
Oh.
Because there are a lot of guys
with a lot of guns
that kill people a lot.
Yeah.
From here, they just start extorting people that are crossing the ferry. Even when the U.S. Army comes through, they price gouge them to the point that the Army just decides to build another ferry down the river.
Wow.
Along with just robbing people, they also start making some of the local poor people around into slaves.
Ooh.
Glanton, meanwhile, is getting increasingly drunk and just stays that way. The judge gains more and more influence, and everyone in the gang keeps getting weirder. And at this point, we're not focusing on the kid hardly at all.
He's just vaguely there.
Yeah, he's there to be someone we follow that has seen all of this stuff and witnessed it. Eventually, they're all running around nude and following the judge like a holy leader.
This is also giving me Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, it's kind of real life Lord of the Flies, because it's just a bunch of boys or men acting out their worst instincts.
Yeah, which would lead credence to the idea that it's a critique. Because Lord of the Flies was a critique.
Yeah.
It was also not based in reality, but it was trying to make a point, you know?
The judge at this point, I believe, is disappointed in Glanton because he's no longer on his crusade of murder, and he's basically just become a robber now. Early one morning, I think I just thought of something. No, it's stupid. Never mind.
Okay.
I was trying to think of a parallel in the story that the judge told earlier when he was talking about the man that had just become a robber. And I was trying to make some parallels there, but it's too poorly thought out for me to talk about.
That's okay.
Early one morning, the Yuma, with the support of the U.S. Army, attacked the ferry after the gang had been up drinking that night. And everyone dies except for like a handful of people. And
Everyone
the kid...
in the gang?
Yeah,
dies?
everyone in the gang.
Okay.
But the kid and a handful of other characters weren't around the ferry at the time that this attack happened, so they get spared. During the attack, some of the attackers ran into the judge's room, who was in the nude with the imbecile, a young girl that they had enslaved, and a cannon.
Oh my god.
Don't know what was happening there. I don't know what he was planning on doing with that cannon.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't want to know either. So make of that what you will. We are driving a train through it. The judge grabs the cannon off its truck, ready to set the fuse off, and walks backward out of the fort, naked, into the wilderness.
Wow.
The kid and the ex-priest are on their way back to the ferry when one of the men who escaped tell them what happened.
Oh.
From there, they run off and eventually come upon the judge out in the wilderness. But you know who else will come upon you in the wilderness?
John the Baptist.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. Ad pivot, me tired. We're advertising John the Baptist.
I'm just doing Mad Libs all day today. Between John the Baptist and Boris and Natasha, I got you for obscure references.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, did Lily tell you yesterday about I started singing the bucket song and made her cry?
What? What the fuck is the bucket song?
There's a hole in my bucket, dear Sally, dear Sally. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Sally, a hole. So fix it, dear Mary, dear Mary, dear Mary. So fix it, dear Mary, fix it. She did similar to that to me too, that face. She was ready to murder me. That song can last 8 minutes. Actually,
Jesus
it can technically go
Christ.
forever. It's one of those songs that can technically go forever. Amy said there's a hole in my pocket, and I started singing that song as a hole in my pocket.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Just the switch from whatever cute shit that is from this episode has just got me broken.
I'm sorry. I broke you.
Ads. Hello, Bad Book Loving friends. Just updating our socials. We're on Blue Sky now at bugs-bibliorex.bsky.social. We have a Substack at Bugs and Books, and the profile name is Bugs at BiblioWrecks. And of course, our website, BiblioWrecks.com. Drop us a message and check out the content that Bugs works on. She's really good at the social stuff. And let's get back to that bad book.
Yeah, she hadn't thought of that song since we were children, and I started singing it, and she was furious with me.
I don't know what that is.
It was from a cartoon of Mother Goose and childhood rhymes and songs, and it's one of those songs that two people can sing to each other, and it can go for infinity, and it's just basically to annoy people.
God damn, you kids were boring. You guys were boring as kids.
I was incredibly boring and a bored child.
Yeah.
Why do you think I studied heraldry at the age of 11? There was nothing else to do.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
I literally took the wheel off of a bicycle that was broken, the tire. I had a stick, and I would run alongside the tire, hitting it to make it roll, like old-fashioned prairie children, okay? I taught my goat tricks. I was so bored.
Jesus Christ.
As soon as I got books, why do you think I was reading all the time?
Yeah, that's fair.
It was more interesting than my life. I was very frustrated because I couldn't read and fold laundry at the same time.
If only you had audiobooks.
See, I did when I was very small. We had
did you
the
have,
little
like, books on
Disney
tape?
ones. Little kid books that would say, ding, turn the page. And you could borrow them from the library in these, like, plastic packets.
See, that was something like when me and Lily first got together, she would use, like, she still went to the library and would, like, borrow stuff. And that was totally foreign to me. I didn't know you could borrow stuff that weren't books at libraries.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Eventually, I found CDs on library, or at the libraries, like books on CDs. But they were kind of hard to keep track of. And if you paused in the middle, you could never, like, continuously keep the story going. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
And then once I had a laptop, I could download the CDs and listen to them and then pause them and keep track of them, and that was a lot easier. I discovered podcasts in 2009 before they were an actual thing.
Oh, huh.
It was a BBC, a little news thing, but it was just people talking about their disabilities. And it was very, very interesting, and I would just download it on my MP3 player, because you could download stuff from the BBC website.
Yeah. Huh.
And it was just people talking about stuff in their life and things that they were doing.
I miss just using MP3s instead of streaming everything. I do miss that.
I liked having music, and you could just know where you were.
And not have to worry about whether you've got signal or anything like that. I do miss that. And we're back, bucket fuckers.
If you are also a homeschool child who grew up with god-awful cartoons, let us know.
Yeah, make a reference I won't understand. Like you're a child from the 1820s.
Yep. Who read sobriety texts from 1830s, because I wanted a children's almanac from the 1930s so bad. I wanted a slate and chalk.
Oh, God. You poor neglected things. So, the kid, the ex-priest, Toadvine, and the judge are out in the wilderness. And at this moment, the situation is tense because everyone is at least somewhat wary of the judge. Because he'd already taken all this control and stuff in the gang before it was dissolved, I guess you would say.
Right, broken up, yeah.
The judge is still naked.
Oh.
He has a habit of losing his clothes, or losing his hat in the story a lot. And anytime he does, and he's out in the woods, he will just fashion a new hat out of leaves. Because he's bald, and I guess he'll get a sunburn.
Ah.
He tells Toadvine he will pay him $100 for his hat, which he eventually gives in to. He also offers the kid $500 for his gun, because he's the only one that's got a gun. Tobin, the ex-priest, doesn't trust the judge, like, at all, and wants the kid to kill him, as he's the only one that's got a gun.
Right.
The kid refuses. He and the priest have a plan to just go to California.
Just run away. Don't deal with it.
Yeah. Toadvine decides to stay with the judge as he is wanted in California. As does the other man that's there, David Brown. He's also there. He's the man... I think his only character trait is that he has a necklace of ears.
Ew.
The kid and Tobin leave, and the next day they see the judge looking for him. And he is dressed in the rags of Toadvine and David Brown's clothes.
Oh, boy.
So at this point, it's presumed that he killed the other two and took the clothes.
Yep.
And the judge is tracking them. And I don't totally understand, like, why he's trying to find them. Like, why does he need to find them?
He wants the gun.
I guess. Yeah, I guess that would make the most sense. So he starts calling out to the kid, saying the priest is crazy and everything's fine. No harm, no foul. And the whole time they're hiding, the priest is telling him over and over to kill the judge. He doesn't, and they get away into the desert where they nearly die, if not for coming upon some Native Americans who, taking pity, save them.
Why? Just let them die. I hate these people.
Ironic. They make it to California, and the kid takes in his first sight of the ocean at the age of 16.
Okay.
Shortly after, he's arrested for the past actions of the gang.
Right.
The kid goes to jail. While he's in a cell, the judge actually comes in and visits him.
Oh, dear.
The kid asks where Toadvine and David Brown are, and the judge tells him, in the desert where you left them. So he's fucking with the kid now.
Yeah, that's rotten.
A cruel thing. Your companions in arms. What did you tell them? Told them the truth, that you were the person responsible. So... the judge is laying the destruction of the gang at the kid's feet because he was the only one who did not wholly give himself over to the gang.
That's insane.
Yeah, quote, "You came forward," he said, "to take part in a work, but you were a witness against yourself. You sat in judgment on your own deeds. You put your own allowances before the judgments of history, and you broke with the body of which you were pledged a part and poisoned it in all its enterprises. Only each was called upon to empty out his heart into the common, and one did not."
Maybe this is a commentary on gang warfare.
I mean, maybe it's a commentary on like groupthink or
Yeah.
something. But I don't know.
But-
I think this is like too destiny to be that.
Okay.
Like the judge is saying here that it was our destiny to fulfill this great work, and because you didn't
You
put
weren't a
yourself
zealot.
in, yeah, you weren't a zealot like the rest of us. You fucked it up. Quote, "What joins men together is not the sharing of bread, but the sharing of enemies. But if I was your enemy, with whom would you have shared me? With whom? The priest? Where is he now? Look at me. Our animosities were formed and waiting before ever we two met. Yet even so, you could have changed it all." I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Like, why their animosities were formed before they ever met. I have no clue. Like, he's just talking some kind of philosophy thing I'm not privy to. So I don't know what's happening. And it's just coming off as bizarre. Like, it's like the judge has this entire headcanon of destiny between him and this kid, but I and the kid have no idea what he's talking about, and we just think the judge sounds insane,
Yeah.
which is what the kid says. So from here, the kid goes through his trial, and he's released because he's 16, and there's no way he had that much of a part in everything.
Oh.
The kid never finds Tobin. He does find Toadvine and David Brown at the end of Ropes. So apparently the judge didn't kill them?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it is. So,
He just bullied them, took their clothes, and abandoned them?
yeah, I guess so.
Huh.
I don't know what happened there or what exactly this means, but whatever.
Because he didn't hang them. He didn't have rope.
No. And, like, I don't know if he like turned them in, but somehow didn't get himself hung.
Which he could have, because, like, at the beginning, he can just tell people.
Yeah, he can just talk
Whatever.
people into whatever. So yeah, but we don't get that,
Okay.
and we're just left to assume. The kid, bereft of anything except for Tobin's Bible and enough money to buy David Brown's necklace of ears, finds work and begins to move on. I think he buys the necklace of ears to get like some amount of status, because otherwise he's just a uneducated kid again. Mm-hmm. So I guess at least with the necklace, he's got some kind of body of work that he can verify, I guess, or that seems verifiable. I don't know exactly. Big time skip here.
Okay.
Something like 12 years pass.
Oh, wow.
And the kid becomes the man.
Oh, dear God.
He takes work where he can find it, no longer killing people for money, and even trying to help people along the way. One particular scene, the man sees a group of people dead in a ravine. A toppled cross and the priest who had been tied to it now laying on the ground disemboweled.
Ooh.
Upon investigating the scene, in a small niche in the rocks was an old woman, kneeling in a faded rebozo with her face hidden. Quote, "He spoke to her in a low voice. He told her that he was an American, and that he was a long way from the country of his birth, and that he had no family, and that he had traveled much and seen many things, and had been at war and endured hardships. He told her that he would convey her to a safe place, some party of her country people who would welcome her, and that she should join them, for he could not leave her in this place, or she would surely die." Tried to say a Spanish word with a dry mouth. Abuelita.
Abuelita?
Yeah, why the fuck can't I say that? Abuelita, he says, but as he touches her, her whole body moves, light and rigid, a dried shell, dead for years.
Oh.
So she's a mummy. Yeah, it's just a mummy that was down here in this ravine.
Oh, man.
And I think I've mentioned it before. A lot of people, for some reason, think this story has like a message of hope. Mm-hmm. Like just the kid's existence as an opposing force to the judge, who most would agree is a force of like nihilistic destruction, is giving some message of hope. Just the fact that there is an opposition at all is hopeful in some people's reading.
The fact he's willing to help this woman
Yeah.
is the alternative.
Yeah, but to me, this reads like completely differently. It doesn't matter what trials you've had. It doesn't matter your intention. There never was any hope for this woman to be saved, and it doesn't matter that the kid tried.
Right.
And that is especially driven home in the last section. Just to clarify, I'm not saying like the real world is totally hopeless like this. I'm saying the messaging isn't supported by this book. Mm-hmm. And I hear a lot of people having that takeaway, and I think they're just inserting their own need for hope into a narrative that doesn't support it.
Right. Maybe people are thinking that he wasn't completely tainted by his time with the judge. And the hopeful part isn't about the woman, it's about him.
Yeah. And if that's where the story ended, I could agree with that.
Okay.
This last section, the man is drinking at a bar where a dance is starting. Then who pops in but the judge, exactly the same as 12 years ago. In the background, a trained bear is working a grinder and dancing, when among the crowd someone shoots the bear and it falls to the floor, moaning and dying. A young girl cries over the bear, saying, "It's all over, it's all over." The judge, much like for huge chunks of this book, talks incessantly for 6 pages about destiny and war.
Mm-hmm. Is he the one who shot the bear?
No, it was just some rando in the crowd.
Oh.
For some reason, they just wanted to shoot a bear, and then the bear dies. Don't know why. Except to reinforce the metaphor that the judge uses in this conversation.
Okay.
The judge speaks of the dance that's going on metaphorically. The dance is war, and to dance is to be a part of something eternal and holy, because yesterday no longer exists. Where are Glanton and the rest of the gang? They're gone, and who is there to verify they ever existed? They mean nothing, but war will continue on forever. He also goes on about destiny. Some are true dancers and some are false, but the judge is disappointed in the kid because he doesn't dance. Metaphorically.
Okay.
To me, this doesn't make any sense if we're involving destiny in this dance.
Mm-hmm. Because you can't choose to refuse your destiny.
Right.
That's the point of destiny. It happens whether you want it or not.
Right. So why be disappointed? You'd only be disappointed if the kid had an actual choice as to whether he was going to dance or not dance.
Right.
But if it's destiny, then he was never going to dance.
Right, and it's not his choice.
Yeah. So this entire section is chock full of war-worshipping philosophical bullshit, and there's no real refutation from the kid. He denies what the judge is saying, but he doesn't go on a 4-page rant like the judge does. Mm-hmm. So I find it hard to believe that this isn't the book's conclusion as well as the judge's. So I don't know how else to interpret it.
Right.
Sometime later, the kid is deciding whether to go inside and dance with the others or not to dance, and he chooses not to participate. He walks down to the Jake's, the bathroom house. Mm-hmm. Inside, the judge, nude, is waiting for the kid. Ooh. Or the man, I guess, in this case. Mm-hmm. He locks the door and grabs the kid. It's left ambiguous exactly what happens, but it's pretty safe to say the kid is at the very least dead, if not worse. Mm-hmm. Later, someone finds him and just says, "Good God Almighty." Ooh. And then we never interact with the kid again.
Okay.
Inside, the dance continues, and this is how the story ends. This is the last paragraph. Mm. Quote, "Towering over them all is the judge, and he is naked, dancing, his small feet lively and quick, and now in double time, and bowing to the ladies, huge and pale and hairless, like an enormous infant. He never sleeps, he says. He says he'll never die. He bows to the fiddlers and sachets backwards, throws back his head, and laughs deep in his throat, and he is a great favorite, the judge. He wafts his hat, and the lunar dome of his skull passes palely under the lamps, and he swings about and takes possession of one of the fiddles, and he pirouettes and makes a pass. 2 passes, dancing and fiddling at once. His feet are light and nimble. He never sleeps. He says that he will never die. He dances in light and in shadow, and he is a great favorite. He never sleeps, the judge. He is dancing, dancing. He says that he will never die." Powerful ending.
He's the devil, all right.
Yeah. So I feel like this book is guilty of a lot of things, but the biggest one to me is that it's profoundly purposeless. Mm-hmm. If there is one, it is to confound and confuse, I think. Mm-hmm. Or maybe I'm just too stupid. Many people can take harmful things away from this and become worse people for it, and possibly vice versa, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
This book is too dense, written too obscurely, and too apathetic about its themes and subject to actually mean anything. Often, like the Bible, it's too vague for anyone to take a coherent lesson out of, unless you insert your own interpretation, at which point you can take it to mean whatever the fuck you want it to mean. Mm-hmm. At worst, you can take away some of the worst interpretations of this and apply it to your own worldview, as some people do. At best, you can take this as one man's opinion and philosophy cleverly assembled into a historical fictional story.
Yeah, that's probably where I would land.
Yeah. After you make that decision, you ignore it for the rest of your life, which is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. Or you can become a McCarthy snob and treat him like a philosophical genius, which I think is the worst option, actually. This entire book gives me like the slimy feeling I get when someone says that they're above politics or some hot button issue. Mm. And speaking of McCarthy snobs, one of the more vocal interpreters of Blood Meridian is a guy on YouTube named Right Conscious, is his channel name. And he makes a lot of leaps that I don't think are supported by the book, like at all. Mm-hmm. It seems like he and a lot of others choose to interpret the ending differently than me, as I've talked about. And just the kid being there as some kind of resistance makes the ending like some kind of hopeful is just childishly optimistic to me.
Because the man kills him.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah. I don't think there's any interpretation, or I don't think there's any hope in the ending of the story.
No, there's not.
Yeah. And I think if you're reading it that way, you're inserting it on your own because of your own personal optimism.
Yeah.
And Right Conscious has also made the argument that the story is a palindrome.
That you could read it backwards instead of forwards?
Yeah. And I don't think that's true at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's just the repetition of themes, because the comparisons he cites are between the kid being pale and a child at the beginning and the judge being pale and childlike at the end. And that could work if every time the judge if every time the judge was described, he wasn't described as childlike and pale and hairless. So I don't think that makes any sense for this to be palindromic because of that.
And the only other similarity is going to the outhouse and dealing with a person at that point.
Yeah, which doesn't scan.
Enough. No. It's not enough.
He also makes a couple of other ones, like the dad being an alcoholic at the beginning and the patrons at the bar being drunk, and that's definitely a stretch because people are just drunk throughout the entire story.
And in real life, people just drink.
Yeah. So I think this is just McCarthy is playing with a lot of themes that get repeated throughout the story, and this guy is just trying to make hay out of nothing. There's also a video where he compares the judge and the kid as failed or successful Übermenches. You know, the German word for Superman.
Yeah, I think that sounds misguided too.
He then tells a story about going to a party and thinking of everyone else as a, quote, sleeper, and how intelligent he felt, and how he felt like an Übermensch, like the judge, which is definitely gross. Like, the guy is married and he's still giving incel vibes.
Yeah. I kind of get the feeling that your knowledge of the references in this book will wildly change your interpretation of them. So if this guy never read Paradise Lost, didn't know the reference to the devil with the piss stuff, he may have understood other references and pulled that direction from it.
Right.
And he went down a completely different path. It feels like a pick your own adventure. Did you ever read those?
Yeah.
And because it is so vague, it would be impossible to know every reference because he didn't leave you
a key to go by.
Yeah. So how do you rate this?
With all the snobbishness and at the same time the uniqueness, because I don't think there's a story anywhere that's like this. I'm giving this a C-.
That's high. Wow.
Like, this book took immense talent and work because he did about 10 years of research before putting this book out.
This was a very finely sculpted pile of poop.
Yeah.
He froze that pile of poop and then took chisels to it and made it beautiful.
Yeah.
It's still a pile of poop.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty accurate. But yeah, immense amount of talent to produce, but it's held back by its snobbish writing style, its vagueness, and its unceasing and gross philosophical droning. So that's how I feel about it. And someone's going to tell me I'm wrong, and that's fine. I don't like this book. The first time I read it, I liked it, and then I sat and...
Thought about it.
Yeah, I sat and digested it for about a year, and then I read it again, and I was like, oh no, I fucking hate this. This is horrible and gross.
Yeah. When did you first read this? Like, how many years ago?
At least 2 years ago. Like, I came across this while looking for books for the podcast.
Oh, okay. So it was after we started the podcast.
And I read it, and I was like, I don't know. Like, there's so much in there. It takes a while to, like, sit and digest with it. And it really does require you to sit there with an open source of information, the internet or an encyclopedia or something like that, to be able to read it thoroughly. So, yeah, it took 2 years, but I made up my mind. I fucking hate this book.
Wow. Because I think you showed me the book last fall. You brought it to the house and was like, can you read this? And I was like, God, what is this? There's no punctuation. What am I going to do? And you showed me, it was one section with like the kid and something was happening. And I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
I was very
just
confused.
Functionally hard to read. And like, I can understand, I'm fine with someone taking like a little bit of a unique personal style or something like this. But when it becomes illegible, I think you just need to dial it back. You know, you don't need to be so unique. The purpose of writing is to be able to convey information to other people.
No, I don't think this author cared
what
anybody else
I don't think
got
he does
out of
either.
this. He wrote it for himself. Fuck all y'all. This is his own personal novel for himself. You are just lucky enough to get a chance to read it.
Yeah, it kind of does vibe like that. McCarthy was a fucking douchebag, too. I told you about that one story with his wife, right?
Like, he refused to work?
Yeah. Number one, he wouldn't work. I think he would stay home and watch the kids, but he made his wife work because he was staying home and writing.
Right.
And he also made some choices instead of making money, because there was one story I heard. He was asked to do a talk at a college or something like that about one of his books. I think it might have been Blood Meridian, but I can't remember. And they were like, hey, can you do this talk at this college for us? We'll pay you money. And at the time, he was living in a cabin with no running water. And him and his wife would have to walk down the mountain to a lake and bathe. So, yeah, some money would have been welcome. And he said, no. I have said all I'm going to say about this work in the book.
Oh.
And his wife was just sitting there watching the man leave and just being like, well, I guess it's another week of beans.
He was himself full of pride. Huge ego.
Yeah. He is a prideful snob.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who lived in a cabin without running water. That's how proud he was.
Yeah. And he also, I think I've heard a couple of different stories about him just living in these like cramped spaces and just living like in a mess his entire life. Like it was just somewhere for him to sleep and for him to put all his stuff while he did his work.
Wow.
And he didn't need like a large space. Like a lot of the time he just lived in hotels and stuff. So yeah, really weird dude.
Yeah. I have met people like this. So proud that they cut their nose to spite their face. Like, literally cannot stand
Conforming
at all.
Yeah.
It has to be their way. Any other way is just impossible. They would rather die.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But if you enjoyed this, or you think I'm fucking stupid and wrong about everything, tell me either way and explain to me in vast detail. Do the amount of work I had to in a single 2 to 3 paragraph email and tell me why I'm wrong.
But that means you will have to spend 2 years listening and re-listening and then thinking about it and then writing it and then editing your email, talking to your friends about it, rereading it, re-editing, and then send it to us.
Yeah.
In 2027.
Yes, please.
2028.
Please do that.
Yeah, do it that way.
But no, really, if someone does have a differing opinion on this, I would like to talk to people about this, because this just has lived in my head rent-free and no one has given a shit.
Yeah.
And I've just been bothering people with my opinion on this book that no one's read.
This feels like one where it could be valuable having 2 people read it and you just sit and argue about it for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And, and that's the way the Bible is fun too.
Yeah.
The Bible can be fun if you actually get together and you actually argue and discuss what it means and stuff.
I think that this book is a lot like the Bible in a lot of ways.
And it seems like people take it that seriously too.
Yeah, but I'm done with this. I'm leaving this book in 2025.
Yep. If you want to email us, we are at BiblioWrecks@gmail.com, BiblioWrecks@gmail. We have a Reddit, r/BiblioWrecks. Thank you for your messages and your comments, giving us suggestions. Follow us on Blue Sky. I have a Substack I'll hopefully start writing on again. I graduated college, so no more midnight study sessions of tax and cost accounting. And Happy New Year. Yeah. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but it'll be around the New Year.
This one
just
will,
after.
I think part 1 will come out the day after. Well, it'll come out on New Year's Day, I think.
Okay. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everybody!
Till next time.
Don't.
You have to give bad advice.
I'm trying. Don't throw a bunch of puppies. No. That's good advice. Throw puppies off a bridge. I don't feel
Dance
good.
with the devil all night.
Yeah.
Fiddle with the devil all night.
No, he fiddles kids. Don't fiddle.
Shoot the judge. Just shoot the devil in the head. No, that's good advice too.
Yeah.
Till next time. Bye.